Hare Krishna. I'm Dinesh Hardas Goswami. The GBC are going to vote on the issue of the female Diksha Guru in the coming weeks, and many devotees are speaking about this now. So I wanted to make my contribution because, as far as I know, what I'll be saying here is different from anything else that I've heard. We're going to begin with a question. Why does everybody in ISKCON have to think and do the same thing? Why? Srila Prabhupada set up ISKCON as an informal institution where those who were interested in hearing about and discussing Krishna and his pastimes and worshiping the Lord could come together and enliven each other in their association. This gave all of the members freedom. So what happened? What happened was that the GBC, they decided to define ISKCON as a formal institution following a corporate model with top-down hierarchical control in which everybody is supposed to think and do the same thing in order to be a member of good standing. In other words, you can't think anything differently from the GBC. The fall of the Jiva is a good example of that. This restricts freedom, right? Restriction, control. This is an anathema to spiritual life. Spiritual life means freedom. We all must have the freedom to follow the dictates of our conscience and adjust our understanding and our behavior as we continue to grow in spiritual life. It's an absolute requirement. Of course, this doesn't mean free for all. Prabhupada didn't want that. Prabhupada wanted the GBC to do what he was doing, to travel around to different centers, see that everybody was following the principles and chanting their rounds, adjudicate any problems, and enliven the devotees by speaking about Krishna consciousness and helping them understand Krishna consciousness better. That's the role of the GBC. But they've taken it upon themselves to be the controllers of the entire institution. That means all the members of ISKCON are supposed to think exactly like the GBC. Well, come on. We all know that that's not reality. We don't grow in spiritual life by being told what to do or what to think. It's not possible. Each of us must have the freedom to develop our own understanding of the truth and adjust our understanding as we make progress. That's how the informal institution of ISKCON would work. And that's how Prabhupada set it up. So the solution to this female Diksha Guru problem is not difficult. All the GBC have to do is let go of their demand of insisting that everybody in the organization must do the same thing. Very simple. Actually, Vaishnavis giving initiation, this is a symptom of the problem. The actual problem to be solved is the GBC's control of how everybody is supposed to think and act. So why don't we discuss the actual problem? Let's bring this front and center and discuss this as the actual problem, with female Diksha Guru being simply a symptom of this problem. It becomes a problem because the GBC's behavior creates hostages in which anybody who wants to have the facilities of the temples that they've worked for decades to help build and feel welcome at, they have to fall in line and do and believe everything that is coming down from on high. That's the problem. The devotees struggled and sacrificed to build these temples, and then, if to take initiation, they're going to be shunned from those very temples, this places them in a hostage position, which is why it's an issue. Otherwise, those devotees could just walk away from ISKCON and do what they want to do. But then they lose the prerogatives of participating in the very society that they've been helping to build. So let's understand this. Female diksha guru is not the problem, it's a symptom of the problem. The problem is the way the GBC have defined ISKCON as a hierarchical, top-down control, corporate model organization. So the GBC can solve this female diksha guru problem very easily simply by changing the way they define ISKCON. And, of course, this means giving up their control, which might be a good idea because, as we all know, control of others is a demonic characteristic. So how about letting go of that? After you listen to this, please share this with others and talk this up. The actual problem. Let's talk about the actual problem and the solution to the actual problem. This is what needs to be discussed because it will solve many more problems beyond the female diksha guru issue. Let's all simply follow Srila Prabhupada as he set up ISKCON and as he defined it. We need freedom. We need freedom to be able to think and progress in spiritual life according to our own understanding. We appeal to the GBC to please give everybody in ISKCON this freedom by letting go of your corporate model of control. Thank you very much for listening. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. Hare Krishna.